guys. Welcome back to another exciting episode on the show, Control or Be Controlled, a podcast designed to help you start thinking differently and take control of your life. And I remain your host, Darlington. Today's guest is Chris Anderson, host of the Upgraded Man, founder of Elevate Media Group, husband and father. But more than any of those titles, is a man who decides at some point complacency wasn't the real enemy. So he spent years since then doing the work and learning from other men who refused to settle. Chris, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right, Chris, I would like you to also introduce yourself to my audience.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm excited to be here. I'm Chris Anderson, CEO, founder of Elevate Media Group, which is a digital growth agency. We help small businesses get their message out, create more revenue, and make a bigger impact in the world. And so we do that a lot through video production, social media, marketing help, things of that nature. And then I have my own podcast, which is fun. So we have the Upgraded Man podcast, where we help men who refuse to stay complacent, men who want to continually improve their lives, their relationships, their wealth, and just, again, make an impact in the world. So I got over 500 episodes. We get about 10,000 unique listeners per week to the show. Interview some great guests, and excited for what the future holds with it. But yeah, just excited to be here. Hopefully I can add value however I can and make an impact. So,
all right. So talk about the 5 pillars: relationships, finance, fitness, mindset, and living fully. Which pillar do you see men neglect the most, and why?
Could you repeat that question, Darlington? I apologize.
Which of the 5 pillars do you see men neglect the most?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it depends on the man. But a lot of the times we're seeing, in men neglecting living fully and their fitness and their mindset, right? So anything that has to do with them personally, us as individuals, we neglect as men, because we're focusing on our finance, our relationships a lot of times. Hey, can I support my family? Can I support my partner better? How do I make more money so we can have more freedom, so we can be in a better spot? So they're focusing on those, their job, their business, and their friends, their relationships over themselves, right? Men tend to do that a lot more. And so we let ourselves go. We let our bodies go. We let our minds go. And we don't live fully. We don't take those experiences and try new things and have the hobby because we're focusing so much on other people in the general sense of it. So that's kind of what we're seeing a lot.
What is the difference between a man who is genuinely growing and one who is simply staying busy enough to feel productive?
Yeah, the one who's actually growing. So the difference between a man who's actually growing and one who feels like he's productive but not growing is the action they're actually taking. So a man who feels productive but it's not really growing, he's doing the normal, right? 9 to 5, get up, go to work, come home, maybe do some chores, watch TV, stay on his phone, go to bed, do it all again. And he might feel productive because he's getting things done in the moment, at the house, things that should get done, but he's not pursuing anything greater. Whereas the upgraded man, the man who's on the journey to continually improve and make a difference, he's doing the bare minimum plus adding things in. So he might be working out instead of watching a bunch of TV. He will be going on some sorts of adventures, whether that be just getting out and going to meet people, or playing a sport, or taking a hike, or traveling. It doesn't have to be anything super crazy. And he's also working on, okay, here, what's the future hold? Where are my goals in 10 years? What do I want to hit in 10 years as far as my goals? And then what actions do I need to take today to get those done? And then he's taking the actions that are going to lead him to succeeding in hitting those goals that he has planned. So that's the difference. One just kind of stays complacent. He's happy with where he's at. He might say he wants more, but he's not putting in the action to get more or be better or be healthier. Whereas the upgraded man is doing the hard thing. He's doing the discomfort it takes to grow and be better. And that's just a little bit each day. Again, it doesn't have to be a thing. You're not going to, how do you eat an elephant, right, Darlington? It's one bite at a time. And that's what the upgrade man does. He takes a bite out of where he's trying to get to and improve to one bite at a time.
You have said complacency is one of the greatest traits facing men today. What does complacency actually look like in everyday life?
Yeah, it's a good question. What does complacency look like in everyday life? It's just kind of like what I hit on. People want more. They say what they want to be more fit. They want to be healthy. They want to, experience more. They want to get to a new level, maybe start a business or, a side hustle type thing. But it's just words, right? So complacency is comfort. It's the normal, even though they might hate their job or not enjoy it or not making enough money, or maybe they're not as healthy as they want. It's easier for them to just stay in that path and complain about it and talk about what they want to happen instead of doing what it takes to make that change. So complacency, and with everything we have at our disposal to make things simpler, to make things easier, technology, tools, products, services, things like that, we can get by really, really easily without having to do the hard work. And so that's what the complacency, the mindset of complacency does. They don't want the discomfort, and where they're at is not uncomfortable enough to make them change. And so they just kind of talk about what they want to happen instead of actually taking action on it.
What are the common lies that men tell themselves to stay comfortable?
Yeah, a lot of the common lies that men are talking about and saying that keeps them comfortable is, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to work out. I don't have enough time to build a business. I don't have enough time to have fun and enjoy that hobby, whatever it is, or take that adventure. I don't have enough money to go on that trip or do that experience. I don't have the skills, the looks, whatever it might be, to talk to that woman or that man or whoever it is. So they put these excuses on so they can feel better about where they're at, and so those lies of, I don't have enough time, I'm not good enough, they're better than me, or they're different than me, or they have these traits that I don't have. Those lies trying to make themselves seem okay with where they're at are big ones that we use. And we have to break those and take those off and understand we are made for so much more, and we can do so much more. We have to get a little uncomfortable so we can get to a better comfort level and exceed more in life.
Okay, so becoming a father changes a man in profound ways. What has fatherhood revealed about yourself that you never expected?
Did you ask what I found out about myself that I didn't expect to find out?
Yes.
Yeah, on this journey, it's been, an interesting one. Mindset has been a big one of really building the mindset piece, and then still seeing where there's some blind spots and where there are areas that I have to work through. Some underlying things that, I didn't think about that affected me, how I act, how I talk, and being able to uncover those and say, well, Chris, man, why do you act that way? Or why do you say that? Or why do you have that perspective? And digging into it and understanding like things that I've been through and things that have happened to me have built those patterns, those thoughts, process, things like that. And then kind of breaking those down and rebuilding in a more healthy and positive way. And that's been a big one. Really trying to get better at being efficient and being harmonious in life, because I got a wife, I got kids, still want to have fun and have adventures. And so with a business, with a podcast, harmonizing all that together, there is no balance. That was a big one I found out, because if you balance, right, something weighs more than something else. Something has more weight to it, and you're trying to balance out the scale. So some stuff is lesser, but in this, harmony is a better word because there, it's all important, right? So you have to find the harmony in how to shape your life around what you want and build that life in a way that makes you happy. And so finding, realizing there's no balance, it's just harmony, and That was a big one. And the third one would be that, it is what it is. If I don't work an extra hour, if I don't lose an hour of sleep to work, not everything's going to crash and burn, right? So again, it kind of plays into that harmony of like, I don't have to burn the candle at both ends and decrease my health and my relationships and things like that. I can still get stuff done and things aren't going to crash overnight. So the urgency is there, but a healthy urgency to build the business and the podcast without neglecting the other pillars of an upgraded man.
Okay, so after interviewing hundreds of men, what patterns have you noticed among those who successfully rebuild their lives after failure?
Yeah, after failure, a lot of guys who have had success, they really can lean into almost seeing the silver lining, right, of the failure, seeing the learning moment. What can I learn from this and implement it into my journey, into what I'm doing, and not see it as a negative. Maybe I didn't hit my revenue goal, or maybe I lost a bunch of clients, or maybe I got no one to listen to the podcast. What can I learn from it? How can I improve from it? And the most successful can do that. They can fail, quote unquote fail. They can not hit their goals, but they bounce back and they take a lesson to the next one. So they implement those so they can continue to grow and learn. And, positive mindset's always a big one. Obviously, no one's perfect. We're all going to have down moments of negativity and mindset, but majority of the time having a positive mindset is another big piece, a pattern that successful individuals have.
Chris,
could you repeat the question? Sorry.
One lie that you feel too many men we take to their grave.
A lie that too many men take to their grave? Is that what you asked?
Yes.
Yeah, I think a lie that a lot of men take to their grave is that they're not good enough, or they're not someone who can make an impact. I truly believe that we're all here for a reason and a purpose to make a positive impact on the world. And a lot of men, I think, in life regretting that they didn't take the risk, they didn't take the adventure, they didn't, believe in themselves more. So I think the lie would be that they, aren't good enough to build something and make an impact.
All right, Chris. So finally, looking at the state of men today, what concerns you most and what gives you hope for the next generation?
Yeah, what excites me and gives me hope for the next generation and with how men are coming along is it's really neat to see the merging of my parents' generation and then my generation. So they're boomers, I'm millennial, and seeing individuals my age and around my age parenting in a different way. I think parenting, there should be tough parenting, tough love parenting, but I think there's a degree to it where boomers, a lot of it was super tough love. I think we are starting to merge like the tough love, but also a little bit more of understanding and listening to our children and thinking more emotionally. And so I think it's a really great sweet spot of being tough, of creating discipline in our children, but in a way that shows love still, even if it's, maybe it's a spanking, maybe there's a consequence of something. I think there's a merging there to make it even better. And I think men are starting to see the importance of being around again. And so a lot of them are trying to build a life where they can be with their children more, be with their families more, be a present father and husband while they're still providing. They're putting the importance of their family above their job, or at least equal to it. Whereas, previous generations here in the U.S., that was the most important thing. Dads went to work. They worked a lot. They supported their family. They provided well. And I think now we're seeing it where men are providing, but they might take a little bit of a, hit to that because they want to be with their family more. And I think that the healing of the family unit that we're starting to see, I hope it continues that way, because that's going to really shift the future generations in a positive way. And so that's what I'm excited and hopeful for that I'm seeing right now.
All right, Chris. Uh, how will you define a high value man? How would I have lived my life as a man, Chris? And in my old age, how will I live so that in my old age I will see that I have lived like a high value man?
Yeah, I think really it's learning about yourself more. The more we can understand ourselves and what makes us tick and where our shortcomings are and where we need to work at to strengthen, whether it be our mindset or emotions, things of that nature. If we can have a better understanding of ourselves and then let that kind of extend out and treat others even better, I think that's going to continue to make us high value men. And it's kind of like the quote: "It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war." Because I think men still need to be tough. They still need to be leaders. They still need to be able to protect and serve, but they need to be able to have that little bit of the ability to be soft and understand the emotions and be gentle when needed and not, too over boisterous. And so I really like that quote because I think it's men need to be dangerous and be able to do hard things, but they also need to be able to do it, with somewhat of grace and a little bit of gentleness, to be able to support and love and guide others. But when the time comes, they need to be able to lay the hammer down, and people need to take them serious and listen and get out of the way if needed. So yeah, I think that's what we can do to be more high valued and upgraded men.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. Honestly, I want to live like a high value man as well. So thank you for an honest and challenging conversation. The message is a reminder that becoming a better man isn't about one dramatic breakthrough. It's about making small, intentional choices every single day in the areas that matter most. So, Chris, for those who would like to learn more about the Upgraded Man or Elevate Media Group, how can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Would love for you to go follow the Upgraded Man podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. That'd be huge. Always helps us continue to get the message out to more people so we can help others. Or follow me on Instagram at chris.t.anderson. Those are the best places to help out and connect.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. And thank you to all my audience as well. You guys make sure to check out the Upgraded Man and Elevate Media Group. I really appreciate you, my audience. You are the reason why we are able to do this every day. Chris, thank you so much for coming to my show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Appreciate it.
All right. Do have a wonderful day ahead.
You too. Thanks, Darlington.